think I needed to check a box for that, but however. So we're going to go through the very first steps of how to start editing Wikipedia again, as we did last night at 7 o'clock. So we're going to start with how you actually set up an account and go through the very first edits that you might make as a user. Okay? Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is make this a little bit bigger, remembering the request from last time. So, first of all, to edit Wikipedia, you don't have to create an account. You can edit what's referred to as anonymously. So if we go to the Wikipedia article we're going to work on today, you can see at the moment I'm not logged in, but I can still have the edit button. There are limitations to what you can do as an IP editor. So it's anonymous to a point. Your IP is logged, so it's not fully anonymous. You can be geolocated. And that's in the history of every article as well. The IP is logged, so it's not fully anonymous. Also, there are a lot of articles that you can't edit as an IP editor. They'll be locked down for preventing vandalism and an awful lot of disruptive editing. So as a brand new or unregistered editor, you won't be able to edit those. And also, you can't create new articles. So if you are intending to edit Wikipedia, semi-regularly or every so often, definitely creating an account is the best way to go. And having an account on Wikipedia is like having one on any kind of platform. You build a reputation, you build a body of edits so people can see what you're interested in, what kind of point of view, that you have a body of good edits behind your account. So that's the benefit of it here. So we're going to create an account. Start from absolute scratch. And the editing account that I usually work from is almost 10 years old now. So I want to let you know what it's like to actually start from scratch and what those accounts look like. So we're going to create an account just for today. So I have Becca Editing, Becca being one of my many nicknames. And for the moment, I'm going to let Chrome come up with a. Actually, that's not going to work, is it? If we're saving this, that's probably not the best idea in the world. So, and this is why it's important not to allow streamers to see your keyboard. Now, you can see here that your email address is optional. You don't have to populate it. It is a good idea. It means that if somebody leaves a message on your talk page or otherwise wants to contact you via Wikipedia, you get an email basically about it. You don't have to though. It also means that if you say forget your password, it's a little bit more difficult to retrieve it if you don't have an email address associated with it. Now, email address is not publicly accessible in any way. Users do have the ability to email each other. So if somebody emails you via Wikipedia, they don't see your email address until you reply to that message. So it's never accessible in that way. But for the moment, I'm just going to leave it without an email address. I'm going to fill in. So as a new editor, we're going to see CAPTCHAs for a little while, but as you build up a body of edits, as you keep editing Wikipedia, that functionality goes away, and it's like it is on any platform. It's just to weed out spam or disruptive edits. It's creating my account for me. Now, so as you can see, it's brought me to what's referred to as a watch list, and we'll explore what that means in a little bit. But now that I'm logged in, you can see that the top right-hand corner of the page has changed. We now have my username. I have an alert. I have a little message saying welcome to Wikipedia, which is nice. I'm glad I'm here too, so I'm going to mark that as read. You can see I also have a talk page, which is where other editors can leave me messages. Equally, you can sign up to newsletters and other messages can be left on your page, bot-driven ones. But what's important, I suppose, from this point of view is much like any article that doesn't exist on Wikipedia, if a page doesn't exist, it's always going to be a red link. Now, for a user page is just somewhere that you can put any identifying information that you like. So that can be literally nothing. You never have to create a user page. There's no onus on you to do so. Or you can go into as much detail as you like. Some people are obviously very open about who they are, especially if they have kind of professional links to Wikipedia associations and things like that, chapters or user groups. They might want to make that association explicit on their Wikipedia page, on their user page. But equally, you can keep it as vague as you like. You can just say that you are a user and you're interested in editing articles related to Ireland, women's history, and libraries, whatever it is. Talk page will be populated, and generally when you start off on Wikipedia and you start making a few edits, you will probably get a little welcome notice sooner or later on your talk page. Sometimes showing you particular resources on how to kind of develop your editing on Wikipedia, or inviting you to what's referred to as the tea house, which is an area where new editors can ask questions of more experienced ones. What's important for us here at the moment is the Sandbox. So the Sandbox is a space within what's referred to as your user space. Which means that it is not on live Wikipedia, so it's not a live article. It means that people Googling certain terms more than likely will never come across it. But it is a space in which you can start drafting or thinking about writing new articles that don't exist yet on Wikipedia, or just to familiarise yourself with the writing environment. First thing that's happened, you can see here, is that I'm being welcomed to Wikipedia. And I'm being asked whether or not I want to use Visual Editor, and we definitely do. So there are two types of editor on Wikipedia. There's Visual Editor, and then there is the kind of basic wiki markup editor, source editing. And to be honest, as a brand new editor, before you kind of get yourself familiarized with the whole platform, visual editing is probably going to be just that bit easier, and we'll have a look at what those two mean. So we're going to say switch to Visual Editor. And basically what it means is it looks like the live version of the page. It's kind of a preview version editing. And it means that you don't have to deal with what's referred to as wiki markup, which is a type of code that powers Wikipedia pages. Now, there's nothing stopping you from starting to edit in Source Editor, and some people who are more comfortable with coding languages might find it easier and might adapt to the platform that bit quicker by using it. But I find generally if you're making small edits, you're starting off editing, you're maybe adding a few sentences here and there to Wikipedia articles, it's generally easier to do that from a copy editing point of view, kind of sentence construction, to do it in Visual Editor, and also to make sure that what you're adding kind of flows with the rest of the article. You're not repeating content that's already there, and that it just kind of flows within the body of the article. So just to kind of get used to what it's like to start typing into a Wikipedia page. So I'm going to do what I did yesterday, which is the brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, not another fox. Thankfully you can't see my typing hands, so my old computer science teacher can't see that I'm not actually touch typing. You can see here, you just literally type in, and if we look at the functionality of the platform, if you're used to any word processing platform or even WordPress, it all starts to feel quite familiar. So if we want to change something to italic, which you would do when you're writing in an article, say it's the title of a book, a poem, something like that, quite often those will go into italics. So we're going to press italic here. But equally, you might want to make something bold. And we'll talk about when you do that within Wikipedia editing. And if we want to make that go away, just highlight the text. So say we don't want the to be bold, so we just say remove. So we've moved our formatting there. If you're on talk pages and things like that, there are, there's superscript, subscript, there's strike through, so you can make text bigger or smaller. There's more kind of nuanced things that you can do with text. At the moment, this is what we refer to as paragraph text, so it's the main body of it. But say I wanted to add a title, so we're going to say, titles. Well, actually, given we're going to say it's typing, and we want this to be the title of the heading. There you go. So now we have the heading. So that would be for main kind of sections within an article. If you have subheadings within it. Also, if we want to make it look like the page title, makes it bigger again. So all of these things are formatted for you. So if I want to, outside of learning how to actually add text to a Wikipedia article, and if you were doing that to any Wikipedia article, the main two things that you're going to have to be able to do outside of actually typing the content in is adding a link and adding a citation. If you ever want to make a contribution to a Wikipedia article, if you add any content at all, you absolutely have to state where you got that information from. So you have to cite it, and you have to cite it correctly. The main reason, aside from vandalism and just kind of, I suppose, mischievous editing that happens on Wikipedia, the main reason that edits are reverted is that they are not cited correctly. So somebody has added information, but we have absolutely no idea where that information has come from, so we can't allow it to persist on Wikipedia because it's not verified. So it's not good enough to just say, well, I know this, I know it inherently, so I'm going to add it. That's not how Wikipedia works. We have to know where that information has come from. So I'm just going to add a quick citation. We're going to find one. So you never, obviously the first thing that's going to come up with an awful lot of things that you cite or that you search for is the Wikipedia article. You never use a Wikipedia article as a citation in another Wikipedia article. It's a snake eating its tail. Wikipedia always wants to go outwards when it's looking for source material, and it's going to be looking for good source materials. So books, mainstream newspapers, papers of note, the Times, the Irish Times, that kind of thing. Journal articles from kind of good quality, non-predatory, non-pay for print editor journals. That kind of material. Material that's coming from good quality institutions like the National Library of Ireland or the Harvard Business School. They would be good sources of information for certain things. So I'm just going to find, so we don't want the Urban Dictionary. We're going to go, this is the one I used yesterday, so we're going to say the Mary Sue. So this is an online reference. Now, if I was actually editing a Wikipedia page, I'm probably not going to use the Mary Sue as a reference, but for demonstration purposes, we will bend the rules a little bit. So with citations always go after punctuation. So they go after a comma, after a full stop. So I'm after my full stop here. Thank you, citations, thank you very much. So you'll see that we get a little window prompting us to fill in a citation. So because I have a URL for this, I'm going to pop it in and automatically generate a citation. You can see that we have URL DOI, which is Digital Object Identifier. That's all journal articles will have a DOI. So if you have that, you can pop it in and it should be able to automatically generate a citation for you. The ISBN, which is the code on the back of a book. These are for medical databases, and because Wikipedia searches WorldCat, sometimes if you have the title of the publication, the title of the book, if you put that in, it might be able to ping the information for you. So we'll pop in our URL and just say generate. So this is a little bit hit and miss depending on how the website is encoded, how the metadata is available to Wikipedia to generate the citation. So you can see we have a few issues here. We're saying missing or empty titles. That means a certain field within the citation that is required for a full citation is missing. So we'll say insert for the moment. Once you've inserted it, then you can edit it. So we're going to edit the citation. So you can see we have our URL, which is fine, but our title is empty. So we're just going to say the title of the piece is sentence that contains every letter of the alphabet. So pop that in. We actually have an author, full name author, which you don't always have even for newspapers. If it's kind of generic reporting, sometimes they don't put in an author credit. But we're going to pop it in if we have it. Source date is the date of publication of the piece. So this was the 5th of August 2010. So obviously people have different norms for entering date information, and to keep everybody happy, there's 2 ways that you can successfully input a date into Wikipedia. So the first one is 5th August 2010, which is numeral, no post-nominals, so no THs, STs, RD, that kind of thing. Month as a word, full word, and the year. But we can also go 2010-08-05. So again, we are avoiding any misconceptions around whether month goes first or date goes first. So we have our name of our website, that's fine. At the moment, the URL is live. Really importantly for online resources, I'm saying when I saw this live. So today's date is when I'm looking at this website. So it means that there are bots that go around link checking on Wikipedia, and if a link dies, if it goes dead, it will attempt to try and find an archived version of that page as close to the date that you've accessed it as possible. So that's really important. If I didn't fill that in, I'd get another little error. So say apply changes. And now you can see that the citation is looking a little bit fuller. Sometimes if you're adding a citation, you pop in your URL and it says, sorry, can't generate a citation for you. In that case, you go to manual, and depending on the reference that you're using, you would go to one of these. So we'll go to website for the moment, and it'll prompt you to fill in the information, like we did fixing the information there. and you'd fill in all of the form there equally. Go site again, manual, go to book. You get a slightly different set of fields to fill in. So we have last name, first name, title, publisher, year of publication. ISBN is quite a good thing to put in. Location of publication and the pages that you have cited. So that could be one page, or it could be a breadth of pages. Second thing that's quite important to be able to do on Wikipedia is to link to other articles. Now, there's an awful lot of Wikipedia articles. You could probably link every single term within it. There's going to be a Wikipedia article for, quick, jump, lazy, dog. But you have to be kind of, I suppose, have an element of common sense as to what your editors are going to want to read once they have, once they've kind of read the body of the article. What are the jumping off points of further reading that makes sense? So if we look at something like Beatrice Gubbins here, there's probably a debate to be made whether or not you actually need to link Irish here, because if you're already looking at a biography of an Irish artist, you probably know what the island of Ireland is and what Irish people are. You can see here that artist isn't linked, because if you found this content, you probably know what an artist is and you don't need to be told. So there's a certain amount of, I suppose, common sense, but also trying to think of, as a reader, what are the other articles that you may pique your interest, basically, or that you may not know off the face of it. What's quite important here as well is that there's actually a mistake within this article here, in that Ireland has been linked to twice. The can't think of the word. In the manual of style, I suppose, the convention is the word I'm trying to think of, on Wikipedia is that you only link the very first time a term comes up. You don't link every single time. So if we had Ireland a third time, you wouldn't link it a third time. So one of the first things we'll do here is probably remove that extraneous link. So if we want to link to something though, so we're going to want to link to fox. No, we'll link to dog first. Okay, so we wanted to link it to the dog, the article on dog. So what it does is it starts searching Wikipedia for articles containing the word that you've highlighted. So we're going to say dog. That's great. And if you hover over it, you see that it links to the Wikipedia article on dog. If we highlight fox, we don't necessarily, I've decided I don't want it. I'm not referring to fox animal. I am going to be referring to Foxtel, which is an Australian pay television company. So I'm going to click that. But you can see in the body of the text, it still remains Fox. And if we hover over it, you can see that it links to Foxtel. So you don't have to reflect the name of the title within the text that you're writing. You can point it to whatever you like, basically. So to save, we have our big blue button up the top right-hand corner. So if we press Publish Page. So there's a few things that turn up here. So in your edit summary, you're going to say what you've done. So this doesn't have to be a blow-by-blow description of everything that you've added to an article, but you're going to let other editors know what you've done so that they don't have to directly compare what you've done, or they have a broad idea of what you've done with an article. So I'm going to say that I'm starting my Sandbox. And I'm going to say Publish Page. Now, okay. I do find that, and I do it myself sometimes, that it's a little bit counterintuitive that the publish button is up top, and I know publish also sounds quite scary as opposed to save, but it means that this is the newest part, the newest iteration of this page is being published. It's going live. So I'm going to say Publish Page, and you can see now it's saved the edits that I've made. What you'll notice is that also this box has changed a little bit. So there's a button saying submit your draft for review. So if I was creating an article from scratch that didn't exist on Wikipedia, it's a red link, it's a biography or a location, something like that, and I'm creating it for the first time. As a new editor, you are very much encouraged to create that article in your Sandbox. And one of the things you can do is submit it for review, which means that other more experienced editors will look at it and decide whether or not it goes live on Wikipedia. As a very new editor, getting an article through the articles for creation process is a very big ask. It's a lot of things to learn very quickly. So perhaps, if you're making your first few edits, I would always encourage people to edit existing articles first, so you get more comfortable with what you're doing, and also you become a lot more familiar with what good articles look like, and how they act, the tone that they're written in, that kind of thing. So you can be far more confident in writing an article from scratch. So the article that we're going to edit now is a stub. A stub refers to an article that's very short. So as you can see, this woman, Beatrice Gubbins, she just has a short paragraph. You can see there's no sections or anything like that. If we wanted to look at, say, a good article of an Irish artist, now I have to remember which one is a good one. I think Grace Henry is. So if we compare the two directly, so Beatrice has the benefit of, she has an image, maybe not the best one in the world, but she has an image, whereas Grace Henry doesn't have a picture, but we have several sections breaking up her life. We have a number of references, as opposed to just two here and then a prompting you to a further reading. You also have some external links going to, so this is Art UK sites, these are some paintings by Grace Henry, so these are pointing you away from Wikipedia. But also we have some further reading in PDF form. So it's on its way to becoming a much more developed and well-rounded Wikipedia article. So we want to help Beatrice to look a little bit more like that. So I'm just going to refresh so that we can see that I'm signed in. I've gotten another little message saying that I've made my first edit. Thank you very much. So I have downloaded a citation for Beatrice Gubbins. So this is, how do I make this bigger again? I cannot remember. There we go. So this is from the Dictionary of Irish Biography, and we were talking about what sources are the ones to go for. So in the grand scheme of very good sources, Oxford National Dictionary of Biography, Dictionary of Irish Biography, the American National Biography, these are, I suppose, kind of gold standard references, if you can think of them that way. They tend to be published by quite well-respected publishers. They are written by experts in the field, and they have review processes to make sure that the information is as good as it possibly can be. So from the point of view of making this article better, you can't really get much better than the Dictionary of Irish Biography, especially to go for a lot of the kind of more the biographical detail, basically. Excuse me. So we have Beatrice Gubbins here, and I've highlighted some of the information that is missing from her article. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some of it in, basically. That is better cough etiquette. I dropped the ball there the first time. So we're going to press the edit button, and again we're back into our editing platform. It looks very much like our Sandbox, and we have all of our content here. So one of the things that I want to add in is a little bit about her family. So I'm going to actually move a little bit of information about what she painted further down. And I'm going to say this is about early life. I'm being a little bit, jumping the gun a little bit by adding a section, but if you're adding sections as kind of waypoints as to how you're going to expand an article, I would definitely encourage you, don't add headings and then leave them blank. Always have content that's kind of within it, as you know, unless you are fully intending on sitting down and staying editing for a good few hours, or not even hours, but a while, and making sure that the sections are filled out. I definitely wouldn't add them and leave them blank. Those kind of edits will be reverted very quickly. So I'm going to move that down. This is just a little bit of just kind of making the flow of the article work a little bit better. In general, biographical articles will kind of move chronologically. So it makes more sense to have the information about her family and her early life to have further up in the article, and information related to her painting and her painting career further down. typical that I would get coughing fits on the one that I'm recording and not the one that I did last night. So, the Wisegubbin family, which is the family of Beatrice, purchased this house, and we have a citation for that. For many years, the home was of the 5 Gubbin sisters, all of whom were deaf, which we know to be true because the Dictionary of Irish Biography backs up. They were all congenitally deaf. So we can now actually add a citation for that piece of information, which previously there's no citation for it, so we don't know where it came from, but we know it to be true. We've had it verified for us. So we're going to hit our cite button. I'm going to go back to automatic now. So the Dictionary of Irish Biography is an online resource. I downloaded this as a PDF earlier. This is the stable URL that points to the entry about, now it is paywalled, but this is the stable URL that points to the entry on Beatrice Gubbins. So I'm going to add it in here. Generate. Trying to think about it. It's not going to want to generate it for us. There we go. So again, it's not perfect, but we're going to insert it and then edit it. So the title of the piece, this is actually more the title of the publication that we're using. So I'm going to move this down to the name of the website. The title of the entry that we're using is Gubbins Beatrix, so we're going to add that. We also have an author for the piece, so we can go last name, first name. The first edition of the DIB was published in 2009, and this was part of the original set, so we can say 2009, and this is when I've accessed the URL, so we can apply changes there. So now you can see there's a few things we can notice here is that we now have a third citation. So we're never editing the reference list at the bottom. That is automatically generated as you cite in line, as you write. And you can see that it has made it number 3. You can also see that you can repeat the use of citations. So you don't have to input it every single time, and they will all turn up as kind of the similar number, and it'll be used several times within the body of the article. So you don't have to input it from scratch every time. I've noticed that this is entitled Notes. It's actually references. So I'm going to change that as well. Another piece of information, so yes, they bought Rathkeil, but she was... One of the most important things, now I do this as kind of, it's a little bit of cheating. If I was to press save now, or maybe just to capitalise that is plagiarism. I've just taken the sentence wholeheartedly from the DIB and I haven't changed it at all. And what we need to do is paraphrase it, so change it into our own words so that we're not plagiarising the DIB. So we can say that Beatrice Edith Gubbins was born in County Limerick on... Copy and pasting is almost much easier than people having to watch me type. She was the youngest child of... So, she was the youngest child of Thomas Wise Gubbins. You can't really paraphrase a name, it's always going to be the same. And Frances Gertrude Nay Russell. She had 2 brothers and 4 sisters. Her father was a distiller. So you can see we've taken the information that's presented. So this bit about her being born in County Limerick on that date, that is also backed up here. I've changed the order, so it's paraphrasing, and I've broken up the sentence so that I've paraphrased it. I'm presenting it in my own words. I've finished using that citation, so again I'm going to go to cite, and this time because it's the DIB and I've already entered it, I can say reuse. And it's the third citation I'm using here. So because now it's kind of moved up, I've used a citation before another one, it's now become number 2. So all of that stuff is done automatically for you. You don't have to worry about it. So from that point of view, I've made my change. What I'm going to do is, as I pointed out earlier, we can remove that Ireland link that's not needed. I might want to link to County Limerick. There we go. And maybe to what a distiller is. Distillation. There we go. Now, I'm happy with the changes that I've made. I made a few little tweaks. And again, top right hand corner, we have our published changes. So what I can say is, so I've added reference from DIB, added sections, and tidied some text. Now, the last thing we're going to do this session is we're going to watch this page, and I'll show you what that means now. Now, you can see that there is a section here saying minor edit. Minor edit is incredibly minor. It means that you've capitalized something, removed a capitalization, added in a comma, that kind of thing. Anything beyond that is not minor, okay? So more than likely most edits you're going to be making are not going to be minor ones. So we're going to say publish changes. And you can see CAPTCHA has gone away. I've made a few edits, so that security feature has gone away. And this is the live version of the page as we see it now. So she's moving away from, it's still, I haven't added vast amounts of information, so it's not quite moved away from a stub article yet, but it's definitely getting there. Now, final thing we'll look at, watch list. So, top right hand corner, you have your watch list, but here at the moment you can see there's a little star. If I press the star, it's been removed from my watch list. I can re-add it, and if we go to watch list now, so as a brand new editor, the 2 articles, so the Sandbox that I created, automatically if you create a page, you are watching it. And I have chosen to watch the article on Beatrice Gubbins. And what this means is if I ever go to the watch list and somebody has made a change to this article in the last 3 days, I will see what the change is. And you can see that we have my username, a link to my talk and the other contributions that I've made, and the change that I made to it, so the edit summary. So other people who are watching the Beatrice Gubbins article, this will now turn up on their watch list. Okay, so I think we will leave it at that for today. Apologies for the coughing. Hopefully this will be saved to the stream, and I hope to see you on Monday. I have put the schedule up on the Twitter stream, or sorry, on the Twitch stream, but I also will be tweeting about it as well. So I hope to see you soon, and I hope that will give you a little bit of confidence to start editing. Thanks so much. See you soon.